Now, let us study about the weighting of the particles. Now, in order to study weighting of the particles, we must understand contact angle. So, what is the contact angle? So, contact angle is the angle between the surface of the particles and surface of the liquid. Suppose we add API particles on the surface of the liquid. Initially, when the particle is not weighted, at that time the particles completely float on the surface. At that time, the contact angle is between the surface of the liquid and surface of the particles. So the contact angle theta is 180 degree when particle is completely float on the surface and is not weighted, it is completely unweighted. Now when in the second situation, when particles slightly goes into the liquid, at that time the contact angle would be this is the surface of the liquid and this is the surface of the particle. At that time the contact angle theta would be somewhat greater than 90 degree. Now again, when the particle is in the midway, that is half dispersed in the liquid medium, at that time the contact angle would be this is the surface of the particle and this is the surface of the particle and this is the surface of the liquid medium. So here theta would be 90 degree. So when the particle is halfly weighted, at that time the contact angle is 90 degree. Again when the particles again goes inside, at that time the contact angle would be this is the surface of the liquid, this is the surface of the particle and this is the theta contact angle. So contact angle would be less than 90 degree. When the particle is completely floated, when the particle is completely weighted, at that time the contact angle would be this is the surface of the liquid and again this is the surface of the particle. At that time the theta would be 0 degree. So this is the term contact angle. So in order to completely weight this particle, we have to bring the contact angle to 0. Now how to reduce the contact angle? So what can be done to completely weight the particles in the liquid medium? In order to weight the particles completely, we have to use surfactants or we have to leviate the powder mixture with hygroscopic substances. So the hygroscopic substances are glycerin, alcohol or propylene glycol. So let us study how the surfactant are utilized in completely wetting of the particles. Now the reason why the particles float on the surface may be due to the air entrainment. So what the surfactant materials do, surfactant reduces the interfacial tension between particles and liquid medium. It escapes the air from the surface of the particles, ensures the wetting of the particles. Now, in the second method, that is by levigating. Now, suppose if the particle is hydrophobic, so that levigating with glycerin Now levigation with the API particle with glycerin or other suitable hygroscopic substances. We perform levigation, that is mixing of the API particle with hygroscopic substances and trituration. So this mechanism causes the removal of the air from the pores of the particle. Suppose if the particle contains such structure, okay, so the entrapped air from this surface will be removed and this space will be occupied by the hygroscopic substances and air will be removed from here. So air from these surfaces will be removed and this space will be occupied by the hygroscopic substances. So when we add such particles in liquid, so the particles, as the particle does not contain air, so particle is completely dispersed and the hygroscopic substance will be mixed with the aqueous phase. So these are the methods by which we can ensure the complete wetting of the particles and to prepare the dispersion of the wetted particles.